In our last video, we showed you how to make a self-powered engine by modifying an alternator and connecting it to an engine, which produces free energy. The video instantly became a viral video, and that caused us to be bombarded with questions, and many did not believe it. In this video, we are going to tell you in depth how the engine works, and we will show you more shots where you will clearly see that this is not a montage. But before we start, we would like to ask you to stay until the end of the video, as we need your help with this video and the previous one. Like and share this video so that we can reach as many people as possible and let everyone know about this hidden technology. Throughout the video, we will explain why. Now, let's start. Many of you have doubted that the previous video was true, and some of you commented that you wanted to see the machine on a methacrylate table. In this video, we are going to show you many shots from all angles so you can see that there is no trick. Here, we are going to use a transparent vase with a background as white as possible so that you can clearly see that there is nothing anywhere. Also, all the shots will be uncut, so you can't say that they are editing tricks. Let's start explaining how this new feedback system, capable of generating electrical power, works. First, we have a single-phase motor with a plug. And we have a track alternator, 24 volts and 200 amps. This track alternator was modified, as you could see in the previous video, and if not, we will leave the link above. We have modified the rotor by placing permanent neodymium magnets. This will cause the engine to have a permanent magnetic field, much stronger than the original field of the alternator. Therefore, it will increase the voltage of the alternator. It will increase 10 times more to about 240 volts. This voltage, with the intensity that we will get, will give us a power between phases of 5000 watts. That is to say, between a phase and another one, we will have 5000 watts 220 volts, and between the other phase and this one, we will have other 5000 watts and 220 volts. In total, 10 kilowatts of power. For this to work, an initial start of movement to the generator. The generator has two phases connected to this socket. When we turn on this switch and give it an initial movement, this will generate 220 volts, and it will make that this motor that is plugged in here start up. The movement of this engine, thanks to the drive belt and the pulleys that are connected to it will cause the alternator to rotate, thus generating power and thus powering the engine. This will maintain the perpetual motion. In addition to generating energy to move the engine, and this in turn moves the alternator, there will be a residual energy to approximately 9 kilowatts, so that we can connect anything here. In this case, as we only have connected two phases, it will give us a maximum of 5 kilowatts, which, subtracting the power of the engine, will be 4 kilowatts. If we connect the other two phases, we will have the 10 kilowatts. Okay, to start this device, we will need the wire that we will wind there to start generating the movement. As you can see, for the motor to generate the current perfectly, it must rotate in this direction, downwards. For it to rotate in this way, we have to wind the cable in this way. In all these shots, we are not going to make any cut, so that you can see always the whole process. We start to rotate, to wind the cable. Okay, that's enough. Now, as you see, we have to put the switch in position 1. When this starts to move, it will generate a current, and this electric current through the plug will make the motor start to move. We are going to start. Now, we are going to connect the tester, so you can see that I'm actually getting 212 volts. (220 volts between the two phases. And now, between this one and this one, another 220 volts. As you can see, the voltage oscillates a little bit, but it's minimal. We have a voltage of 220 volts. Now, to make more measurements, we are going to put this little device. But so that it's in a vertical position and you can see the results, we are going to connect it here. And this here. Right now, we have a consumption of 0 watts, 0 kilowatt hours, 228, 50 hertz, 60. The frequency varies a little bit, but it stays. There's no current because there is nothing plugged into this outlet. And let's start by reconnecting the drill, which you've asked for a lot. We put the drill there. And as you can see, (850 watts. At startup, it consumes a little more. (860 watts, at startup 1200. The voltage remains constant. And when you connect the drill and start it up, the frequency also remains constant at 50 Hz, because the motor speed drops a bit. As you have checked, the perpetual power generator works perfectly. Next, you ask a lot why we use a single-phase 220-volt motor instead of using a three-phase motor, each connected to a phase. Well, the reason is simply that we didn't have any three-phase motor that was 3000 RPM on hand, so we had to use this single-phase motor. In a future power generator that we will create, which will be 20 kilowatts, we will put a much larger three-phase motor and use two alternators. Many of you also say or claim that you can't get power from nothing. Here, we are not generating energy from nothing. That is impossible. Here, we use the energy that has always existed in the universe, magnetism. The magnetic energy is transformed into mechanical energy, and the mechanical energy, through the alternator, is converted back into electrical energy with a very high efficiency. In this way, we obtain unlimited and free energy. Another question you ask is why a 24-volt alternator generates 220 volts. The answer is very simple. By modifying the rotor as you have seen in the previous video and placing permanent magnets, we generate a much more powerful magnetic field. That way, every time the magnetic field passes through a coil, it generates 10 times more voltage. Therefore, we get a voltage between phases of 220 volts. Others say maybe there's a wire, maybe there's a hidden battery, maybe the motor is a large lithium polymer battery hidden inside. As you saw, we moved the camera around earlier, and later you will see it again, and there are no hidden wires or hidden batteries anywhere. This is a wooden table, the power strip with the electrical connections, the modified alternator, and the electric motor. There is nothing else. We're going to show you now another long shot and cut where you can see the equipment working, and we will lift it up while it's running. We will use it to drill a piece that we have there on the bench in the background. Quite a few of you had asked us to be seen moving it, and that's what we are going to do. As you can see, the motor can handle drilling apart without any problems, without dropping in voltage or without dropping in power.